All right, here we go. Ready?
Okay.
You sure you're ready, Hassan?
Let me just text my mom real quick.
Are you recording?
Yeah, I think we should be recording while he's texting his mother.
Hey.
Let me know when you're ready.
And good.
Welcome to Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother Podcast, a multi-generational discussion of movies.
Welcome to the party, pal!
I'm Ralph Quartucci.
I'm Sean Paul Murphy.
And I'm Al.
I'm Hassan.
And we have a continuing guest on our podcast, Mr.
Hi,
Nice.
I'm John Quartucci, Ralph's little brother.
And our special guest today is Darcy Wilkins, who is, we've asked her to bring a movie that you want to wave? Say hello?
I was trying to, but the background made me look like I don't have a hand.
Your hands disappear. Are
I
those
have a
webbed
webbed
fingers? Are your fingers webbed? So Darcy has brought a movie. What year was this made? Did it come out in
1991 or 95?
95.
95.
95, yeah.
Darcy, why don't you tell us what the movie is and tell us why you brought it to Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother Podcast.
Okay, so Waterworld came out in 1995, so I was 6 years old, and my mom loved Kevin Costner. It is a crazy apocalyptic journey, akin to Mad Max, but just in the water. And it's about a time where the polar ice caps have completely melted and covered what the characters think is the entirety of the earth. So there's no more dry land. And it's been so long, it's been several hundred years. So dry land is a myth. No one knows if it exists or not. People think that maybe it floats around. And our main character is like a mutant merman type of thing, and I don't think it gets much better than that.
Merman.
Sorry. Well, okay, so 95, I understand the love of Kevin Costner. I have a huge man crush on Kevin Costner. Always have.
Right.
Shift a little bit now towards Brad Pitt, but I'll put them both in there. They're both good. So good movie. Maybe not.
Debatable.
We'll see. Debatable. Well, that's what we're here to do. We're here to debate that.
Ralph, now is it your opinion on the film?
No, I'm going to be last. Sean, we start with you. Now, we'll just give us a little synopsis of your opinion of this movie, and then we'll circle it, and then we'll all do a group discussion.
Okay, well, I liked it better this time. You know, I didn't think it was horrible when I first saw it. You know, it was trashed in the press. We'll be reading Ebert's review of it. But, I mean, people were really reviewing the budget more than the film itself back in the day. And, you know, it definitely had its moments. My wife watched it with me. She saw it for the first time. She thought it was very interesting at first, then really hated the Kevin Costner character, especially throwing the girl off the ship and things like that. Very unlikable, but then she loved the movie in the end. And she was uninfluenced by all the press around the movie when it was first released. So I'm just going to say I'm a little warmer than I was to it when it initially came out. Saw it in the theaters, of course.
You mentioned the budget. This was second to, well, actually, Titanic finally beat it. This was the highest. Okay.
$200 million for a film that starts with the hero drinking his own urine.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
I tell you what,
Al.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
That Titanic started.
We got a time limit.
Yeah, with Leo DiCaprio drinking his own urine. I don't think it would be as successful as it was.
Hard to disagree on that, but
But Bear Grylls.
You would.
Bear started his whole career off of drinking his own pee.
and squeezing elephant dung into his mouth.
Yeah.
We'll tie that National Geographic in later. There's a little scene in the movie that's very famous. Okay, Al, your turn.
Yeah, so I saw this initially when it came out in 1995. I think I remember it being okay. I think when reviewing it now, watching it now, it's just kind of like, it's okay for what it is. I think I have more of a fondness for it back then because I saw it at the drive-in, which would have been one of the probably last few movies I saw, like big blockbuster movies I saw at the drive-in. For for me, I think they should have probably got George Miller to direct this, but he was probably he was too busy doing Babe at the time.
Yeah.
And
Love
as far as like Costner goes, I don't really see him as an action hero. I more identify him as like a dramatic actor, like Field of Dreams.
Okay.
But I would say my favorite part is probably Dennis Hopper and his performance as the Deacon.
Explains the picture.
It does.
Why we can't see your face, Al.
And
Well,
I enjoy my
Deacon's
favorite
better
scene is
looking.
the eye scene, the comedic eye scene. That's mine.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Who's next?
Okay.
Is it
Hassan?
This was my first time seeing this. And I can't believe people didn't like it. Like, I thought it was really good. Very like Hercules type character. I also don't see like Kevin Costner as much of like an action star, but I guess in the water he does pretty well, you know. I thought it was great. I liked the story. Love the whole post-apocalyptic Mad Max underwater thing. I haven't seen Mad Max either, so it's like, I don't know, it was like a fresh.
It was really fresh for you.
Yeah.
He's going to be
ethnically diverse cast, which was great for a 1995 film. I thought the story was pretty good.
So in other words, Hassan, you're going to see Mad Max and say, man, this is just a ripoff of
It's
What
Waterworld.
is this? Just a dry land Waterworld?
Yeah.
It wasn't very diverse. There was only one mutant in the show.
Yeah.
So true.
John, you're
I
up.
guess it's a
I
Mad
love
Max
this.
meets
I
Little
love this
Mermaid.
movie. I love this movie. I loved it when I saw it in '95. I remember when I went to it. To Seth's point, all they talked about was the budget. It was Kevin's Gate and Fish Tar, they called it back then.
Right.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go see it because the trailer, the polar ice caps have melted. I love that trailer. And then when I went to the movie, I said, you know what? You could see where the money went and all the action scenes. You could see it on the screen. And I thought Kevin Costner, although I didn't like his choice of being a jerk for 75% of the movie. And I don't mean like like Mad Max was. I mean, he was a jerk.
Yeah,
I
he was
didn't
a
like
jerk.
him at all. So when the
Bit of a
change
dick.
came, it was a little too abrupt for me. But Hassan talked about him as an action star. He did a huge amount of the stunts in that movie. And you see him, on the top of the mast there, going with the hook across the ship at the end. I thought it was great. And I always gauge a summer movie like this. When it comes on, will I watch it when it comes on cable? And this is a movie, when it comes on, I watch it. Because the action pieces, and it's not perfect, believe me. There's issues with it. But for an action movie, it's a popcorn summer movie. I loved it. Loved it.
Well, okay, first we're going to go to
Well,
Ralph.
me. My turn. All right.
Uh-oh.
First of all, Kevin Costner is an action hero. You forget Robin Hood. You forget Untouchables. You forget
Robin Hood? You're really bringing Robin Hood in?
Robin
I'm
Hood
just
an
saying,
action movie?
Not his accent.
Yeah.
his accent was terrible, but this guy has been around a while. He's you ever see his first Fandango? Did you ever see Fandango?
Which was also written by Kevin Reynolds, who directed this movie.
Is that true?
He
Yes.
wrote that?
That must be
Yeah.
true if he said it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, let me just
That's where
quickly
they
say
met,
this.
I guess.
Darcy said it's akin to Mad Max. Okay, I don't know if there's a ripoff or an homage to the Road Warrior, because it's dead on Road Warrior, right down to characters looking exactly the same as Road Warrior. Okay, couple of things. Everybody's wearing steampunk gizmos. The bad guys are all dressed up, all crazy. The hero comes into a place, anti-hero. He ends up saving everybody. The main guy, there's a guy that's in the, what's the atoll? It's called the atoll, right? The security guy
atoll.
that's part of the atoll.
Mhm.
There's a security guy that meets him at
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like the security guy from the Road Warrior. There's a Road Warrior guy, okay?
And who saves him in Road Warrior? A guy with a whirly bird.
I
And
was
now
just
we
going
got
to
a
say
guy-
that. The helicopter. Michael
now we got-
Jeter flying the helicopter,
And
okay?
now we got a
Same thing.
balloon.
Listen, right down to the feral kid. You know the feral kid in Road Warrior? Okay, with the crazy hair? Well,
Yeah.
Costner cuts this girl's hair in the middle. She looks just like the feral kid. So this is a direct Either rip off or homage. They even said, I read that on IMDb. Someone said, make a movie like Road Warrior, and that's what they did. It's a direct copy.
Well,
Now-
you know, the funny thing is when I first saw the film, I'm sorry to get into discussion, but I did not look at it as Road Warrior. But watching it this time, all I could see was Road Warrior.
Right.
Watching it on TV. This is the first time I've watched it since it came
Right
out.
down to the Whirlybird guy saving. I mean, by the way,
Yeah.
spoilers, we know that. Spoiler alert. Right down to the Whirlybird guy saving him at the end.
It was a
okay?
balloon. It wasn't a whirly bird.
Yeah,
Okay.
which movie are we spoiling? This one or Road Warrior?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's
Both.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Except it's in the Road Warrior, it was dirt, right? It was dirt inside the big tanker, not oil.
Yeah.
And in this one, it was water and then oil. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but
it's like if Al Gore made Road Warrior.
but Kevin
It's not-
Costner.
that's why
well,
we
listen, they beat us over the head with the Exxon Valdez, right down to having a picture of
That's my favorite part. Literally, that's my
the
favorite
captain.
part.
The
Was
captain's
this-
side.
Joe
Robert
Hazelwood.
Hazelwood. Bill
He's the guy that
Bill.
grounded the oil spill.
Right.
that didn't make it seem dated, did it?
Oh, and
That
Dennis
was like-
Hopper
that
sitting
really
right next to
took
him. I
me-
mean,
St. Joe.
That took me
This-
out of it.
listen, honestly, Kevin, who's the actor? I blank on this guy's name. I'm sorry. Who did Steven Seagal? Okay.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal's movies
You
towards
got
the end.
Steven
were all-
Seagal.
well, I'm
On
saying
Dangerous,
Seagal's
on
movies
Deadly
at the
Ground.
end. Yes, were all about messages. I think I don't know who started this, whether it was Kevin Reynolds or Costner with the whole Exxon Valdez thing, but they try to slam it and hit you over the head. Anyway, I'll hold off on yay or nay on this, but you know, my love of Kevin Costner kept me interested in the movie, but he
I
was
mean, you
kind of.
didn't say what, I mean, you didn't even give a hint whether you liked it or not. You just said it was a rip off.
I'm not going to say. I'm
So
going to
you're
say.
kind of semi on Kevin Costner in this one, if you know what I
I'm
mean.
saying he played a huge dick in this movie.
A
He wasn't
semi
a
one.
dick. What did he do? What did he
But
do
I
that
think
made him
He
a
threw
dick?
the girl in the water.
No, but I
talking
think
too
that
much.
they
Sold the
had-
girl for
Wait, wait.
pieces of paper.
I want to say one other thing. Sean, what is my biggest complaint about most movies?
Sex trafficking.
Second biggest complaint is
Well, that was
too
in
much
this movie.
too much backstory, right?
Yeah.
I hate too much backstory. I don't need all that. Guess what this had?
No backstory.
Well, with Kevin Costner's character, zero backstory. There's
Right.
one mutant in the world. I don't know how the guy developed.
Well,
gills.
that's not true because you got to
He's
see the.
a mutant.
You gotta
okay.
see the extended
okay,
cut.
but that's not fair.
You
Okay,
gotta see
because
the
that's not
extended
what
cut.
that's not what came out.
No
That's
one
not
wants
what
to
I watched.
see the extended cut, John.
You what?
Okay,
No one wants to see the extended cut.
Yeah,
It's already
also-
long enough.
better.
there was a huge TV extended cut which explained the
3 hours.
religion, Dennis Hopper's religion, or whatever. What's this guy? What's this?
The
deacon?
people.
The deacon's religion. The backstory about the mutants. Is he the only?
Nobody
mutant?
needs that.
He's not.
Well, in this particular case, I needed a little more backstory, and I didn't get it. Anyway, I'm not going to say yay or nay. Now we'll do the general discussion. So
Yeah,
No,
but
I want to
this-
hear from, what about
no, no,
Darcy?
no,
I want to hear from
John.
Darcy.
I
No,
was
no,
just
John.
I was just introducing. I want to know why you felt this appropriate to bring this to our wonderful podcast.
Okay.
Other than you were
so-
6 years old.
Yeah. Ugh.
Well, Waterworld's always like, I don't know, as a kid, I didn't really watch like cartoons that much. I watched like these kind of movies, like, probably because that's what my mom wanted to watch. But especially this one, like both my parents are coastal scientists. They've always been talking to me about climate change and coastal erosion and stuff since I could understand it. And also my mom, I was born in '89, and my mom left me as a newborn to go clean up the Exxon Valdez oil spill.
Oh,
Ooh, what kind of person.
Wow.
oh, now I feel terrible.
Now we got a connection here.
Is your
Yeah.
middle name Hazelwood?
No, but it should be.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so I don't know, all those kind of connections, like them worshiping the Exxon Valdez captain is hilarious and great to me. And the fact that this movie's like so ahead of its time in the global warming sphere, I really appreciate. Plus Kevin Costner. Also, Tina
Majority.
Majori.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Majorina.
Yeah, she was an Andre before this, and I loved Andre. So like, see, you know, the movie about the little girl who meets a like seal that escapes.
Oh yeah. I only know
Yeah.
her. Napoleon
Water.
Dynamite.
Yeah. Napoleon Dynamite too. Yeah, so it's just super nostalgic for me. But I also just think, watching it again this time, like it's so entertaining. I mean, it's the same thing you said, John. Like anytime it comes on, I'm gonna watch it because visually it's great. And all the stunts, like I love the underwater jet skis that are they have snorkels on and then they all launch out. Like I just think it's also great. Like just visually. And two, like I think that Kevin Costner, the Mariner, had to be an asshole. Like I'm a super feminist, and I even like me seeing him throw the girl overboard and like chop their hair off, I was like, yeah, that's what his character would do because he's been alone for so long. He can't trust humans because obviously they try to kill him. So yeah, he would be salty and crusty and rude, and
salty.
he'd have to learn.
You're calling him salty.
He just misunderstood. He's a misunderstood, troubled soul.
He hit her over the head with an oar.
Yeah, because he doesn't get
was
it.
trying
He's
to
never
shoot
seen a
him.
woman.
Salty.
He sold her to the creepy guy.
He was gonna.
He
Oh,
did,
that
but
guy
then
was
he
salty.
backed out of it.
Kim Coates.
Hey, paper is important, guy.
Paper.
The paper thing was a problem because just in so many ways, like with the cigarettes, first of all, like, and after hundreds of years, they would have run out of the cigarettes that they had. So how are they making cigarettes? Also, they say in that scene, he's like, I have 2 sheets of paper in here. And when Kevin Costner actually pulls the paper out, it's like 12 sheets of paper. And, the National Geographics that they had and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not saying there's not problems.
Shout out to Nat Geo.
Yeah, hang on.
I know.
Keep talking. I'll show you a little something.
Yeah. I'm not saying there's not problems, but I just think it's visually great and like kind of the message is ahead of its time, even if it's very preachy. Like, I don't know. And like the reveal of dryland being underwater, like you can see where humans would, after a certain number of years think that land, because a lot of ancient humans did think that land floated.
Whoa.
And
you got the net. Oh yeah.
Look at that.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Paradise Lost.
there it is.
Look at that. You need 6 years old. Who knew you'd be working there? And there it is in the movie.
Wow.
It was a prophecy.
What a
Yeah.
time.
I have a National Geographic tattoo on my back. Actually, they don't know where it came from.
How'd that happen?
Is it the cover of that magazine?
As a baby. Yeah, it's that cover. Yeah.
That's the. We'll talk about that in a second. That crew would have had that woman's back. Now, Al, help me with this one, right? A little bit of martyrs, right? They would have dragged that girl back there. They would have cut that map off her back and strung it up, and
They would have tanned it.
they would have tanned it. There's no way they would have been giving her crayons and let her play and all that stuff. No way.
But
Anyway,
that's
They
true.
wouldn't have
It's
been
like-
able to find it. Their only
all right.
clues was the map and the girl.
Well, they didn't need the girl. They just needed the map.
Wait a minute. Before we go any further,
She had visions.
I had a vision from the god of cinema.
Mhm.
That god being Roger Ebert.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we just? I want to say something about this before you start. There's a podcast, famous podcast called The Rewatchables with Bill Simmons, the sports guy. He's now doing the same thing we're doing with the Roger Ebert, but we did it 2 years ago. Okay, 2 years ago we did this.
Did you guys copyright
say
it?
that.
or anything?
We
Yes.
did not do
No.
copyright. Okay,
I don't need to. I've been trying to get my body like Roger Ebert. I'm really into it.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
Let's read what Mr. Ebert had to say, or just give us a little synopsis.
Okay, well, I will say that he gave it 2.5 stars.
Ooh.
So I'm going to
Four.
read not the first pair out of 4. And I'm going to read the first 2 paragraphs, and here they are. So here at last, Waterworld, 2 years and $20 million in the making. In the old days in Hollywood, they used to brag about how much a movie cost. Now they apologize. There's been so much publicity about the movie's budget that a review of the story seems beside the point. I should just print the spreadsheets. The cost controversy aside, Waterworld is a decent futuristic action picture with some great sets, some intriguing ideas, and a few images that stayed with me. It could have been more. It could have been better. It could have made me care about the characters. It's one of those marginal pictures you're not unhappy to have seen, but can't quite recommend. That
nails
is
it.
what the great man says. I do
And
think
That's a
He
pretty
does
fair
nail it.
review.
yeah.
he nailed it. I mean, that's a good review.
I didn't say he nailed it. I said it was pretty fair.
I think
I said he
it.
nailed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know you did.
You know,
But-
one of my problems with the movie is I thought the best action sequence is when they attacked the atoll.
Mhm.
And that's so early in the film. I don't think anything that came afterwards lives up to that moment. You know, that was a great sequence. It was the most Mad Max of the Mad Max moments. I did like the water skis underwater. That was really cool.
Mhm.
But, and, you know, they tried for the whole sense of wonder when they go and see the city under the water. But to me, that one action sequence was so much more exciting than the attack on the
Valdez.
Valdez at the end.
Although that scene at the end when he went after the plane, that was pretty cool with that
Yeah.
music pumping in.
Yeah. But the,
Yeah,
the
music.
the
Okay, there was a
attack
couple
was-
of there's a couple of music choices. Like there's a choice where we first see the Deacon's car the first time.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
that car that he
Peter
drives
Gunn.
around.
Peter Gunn theme.
yeah.
Right, Peter Gunn.
Yeah.
I mean, they just dropped that in the middle of this thing.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Right. What is the Peter Gunn theme? Do it.
What
John.
is it?
Dun,
It's
dun,
almost
I
dun,
know-
dun, dun,
I want-
dun, 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 dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun.
dun. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was
Yeah.
perfect for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect for that. I don't know. Perfect for that.
What about the rest of the score?
I think the rest of the score was pretty bland. Like it matches the movie because it's just this like bland adventure music that they stole from like a million other movies.
It sounded like
I love
sub
the
John
theme.
Stewart. I mean, it's not
Wasn't
Stewart.
it John
what's-
Newton Howard?
Yeah, it was like sub John Williams. It was sort of it was John Newton Howard, who's
Yeah,
usually
it's like-
pretty reliable. You
It-
know?
It's like the,
the theme song. I thought it was really nice.
Is there a theme song to Waterworld?
yeah,
Yeah.
swimming.
Whenever the action on the Timurin is when they play the John Williams stuff.
Well, that was you talk about action stuff. I loved all the stuff on the
Yeah, the
catamaran
boat.
or whatever his boat. All the
Timurin.
stuff where he's
Mhm.
swinging on the ropes and
Yeah,
Yeah.
cranking that stuff. I thought that was pretty good. And Costner's, he's a pretty physical guy.
yeah.
I know
Yeah,
that's
Tuck
why
is
some
cool.
people like him.
I love him.
Yeah.
Naturalistic. My favorite line in the whole thing is when he's stuck in that cage in the water, with the quicksand or whatever that is, the green stuff.
Yeah.
The
And
recyclable.
When he was
It's
being
the
Jeannie
soil
Triplehorn,
green.
Jeannie Triplehorn comes over and says, "I'll get you out of there if you." And she goes to, and he goes, and the only line was, "Sure."
Sure.
Right? And that's right. I said, "Sure." He's very naturalistic, that guy, but he was a bit of a dick in this movie. I mean, he
He's
was.
a minimalist. He had to be.
Dick.
Yeah.
He felt alone his whole life. He can't trust anybody. Like everyone who's ever found out about his gills or his love beat has tried to kill him, probably. Like,
Is he the only one with gills? I need some backstory here, Dorsey. Is he
I
the
don't
only?
know,
Give me some
actually.
backstory. Write some
but
backstory.
But
I
there's
need some-
he's like Clint Eastwood, the man with no name. Like, why does he need backstory? That's his character.
Well, because
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood was a man, not a fish, with gills behind his ears, and he could swim underwater and breathe underwater. I need to know a little.
You
more.
don't
There
need to
more
know
of
why
them?
he got that way.
They
That's what
prefer
I'm-
Muto.
That's my
You know
point.
what
His
they call
backstory with you, Ralph, isn't it?
they call
No,
Clint
you know
Eastwood
that's the,
they call Clint Eastwood the man with no name. Well, I just watched for a few dollars more again, like last week, and he had a name. I forgot what his name was. They called him by a name. So it's like,
Yeah, but they
how could he be
right-
the man with no name when
He
he's
doesn't
got
have like a half-hour backstory though to
Yeah,
explain
no.
how he became who he was.
Yeah, it was all they do, but it was all on the show Rawhide. You know where he came to roast.
now,
Joe
John.
Favor, Rowdy Yates. So
The
at the
But
end,
wait a minute,
of
let's
the-
go one step further. Remember, Clint Eastwood's first big role was in Revenge of the Creature, about the creature from the Black Lagoon, about an amphibian man with gills.
Mhm.
And he was the man. He was the gill guy.
No, he was like a
No,
a third tier
Gill guy.
scientist.
John, what were you
At
going
the-
to say?
At the end of the director's cut, or the 3-hour version, she gives him a name, Ulysses.
Hmm.
Oh,
he's got-
it's yeah.
And so at the end of the theatrical version, he leaves because they said he was getting sand sickness. It just
Mhm.
felt too awkward to be on the beach.
Yeah, they
But in the
mentioned-
director's cut, he was leaving to find other mutants,
Mm.
to find
Oh, that's
other
weird.
people like him. That's when she gave him the name Ulysses because he's going on this quest.
Thank God
Oh,
nobody
okay.
saw the director's cut. Just
Yeah.
gonna say.
Where,
I
where
just
did
think
you
it explains a little bit more because it was weird
well,
why
yes,
he just
it-
left.
where
does
did you see the
explain-
director's cut, John?
It was a 3-hour version on TV.
Oh, That's
Oh,
I didn't think it was
yeah.
weird how he left.
I thought it made sense.
They were trying to find the land because they were like, "Why we're not meant to be at sea? He has gills. He's not meant to be on land."
Right.
I mean, like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
I
but it
thought
was
that-
it was a more noble reason why he was leaving. He was trying to find others like himself.
Is that noble?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is it
In the
racist?
extended cut.
Or is
But
it-
we're
He
not
also said
talking-
he never cared about dry land. He said that throughout the movie.
Yeah.
That's not what he cared.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, he just like
Also-
wanted to be at sea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Enola is alone backwards.
That's right.
Which I don't really know exactly what they were trying to say with that. Because
Well, her
what
parents
do,
were
what do
killed.
you guys think?
Her
Can I
parents
ask
were
a-
killed. She was left on her own. That's all.
Okay.
that was.
I thought it was
By the
a
way,
reference
land-
to the Enola Gay, personally. I thought maybe
No.
we nuked the world that made the polar ice caps melt.
I thought the Enola
Mm.
was that. That's a good observation about Alone Back.
By the way, my favorite scene was the Universal logo
Yeah.
and the globe, and then
Yeah.
you see the water. That was nice.
Yeah.
I need a little backstory from you guys.
Well,
What was I
wait a
just gonna
second.
ask?
I will say one thing. I would have bought the whole ice cap melting and everything and covering the world if Morgan Freeman had done the narration.
No,
would've
that
just-
would. Did you notice the narration was that guy that did all the movie trailers?
That was like Don
Yeah.
LaFontaine, right?
yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did the
That
trailer
guy.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my little question about the backstory. Any
Mm-hmm.
backstory? Did all the
Mhm.
people? So he comes to that atoll. Were those people? How long has the world been covered by water? Do they have?
They
any
said
clue that
hundreds
they-
of years.
I said hundreds of years.
Okay, so generations. So they were generations. They never saw dry land. Those people.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So
needed that.
definitely
I didn't-
not long enough for evolution to actually have
Right.
created.
And that was his backstory. It was just evolution that turned him
But-
into a fish.
But it would be. I think it would be fine to say that he was just a mutation, because that happens sporadically. So it's not. I don't
Case
think
in
that he
point.
has like a people, but he is a mutation.
Yeah, I understand.
So he can. So okay. Second question. Backstory. The giant thing that he caught that he made himself bait. He was bait. He was fishing.
The
basically.
megalodon.
Yeah. What, are those in the ocean all the time?
Yeah,
I'm
they're
guessing
near
that.
the bottom, and if you blow a hole in through this like shield that protects the dinosaur species,
Right.
under
That's
it,
yeah. That's what I'm asking. So that was fine. This one monster. I mean, John, you're shaking your head.
Well, because I read the book too.
Oh, there's a book.
Yeah, and in the book, he that's how he eats. That's how he catches.
Is this a novelization of the film, or
Yeah.
like this is a pre-existing?
No novelization, but they flesh everything out.
Mm.
So that one scene,
No pun intended.
that one scene happens more than once. That's why he knew how to.
Well, that's when he does the little spark on the battery, so he's blowing up. That's how he blows him up. He gets inside him and he blows himself up. Or
no, he's
something.
got the harpoon with the harpoons on either side. He gets swallowed up.
Oh, so
shoots
they
the harpoons.
explode
They
out.
go right through. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can I
He's obviously done
question?
it before.
Hmm?
It's not like it was his first time fishing,
No,
Go catch a
we
giant
know that
shark.
now. We know that now, but that's the only time we saw a giant monster in the water.
Well, he said they
Yeah,
don't.
but
They don't come
assume-
out.
What was
during
that?
the day.
Is that what he said?
He said at one point, they're asleep. They're
He's
asleep
like, they're
now,"
sleeping now.
I was wondering.
when they were swimming.
Yeah.
Okay,
Here's
I got.
my
Go ahead,
question.
Sean.
What do people think of Jeannie Treplehorn?
Oh,
Was she good?
I thought- I
she was
thought
as
she
good as
did.
Costner, I think.
What'd you say, Al?
She
That
was
was a-
as good as Costner in this film, I think. She did a serviceable job.
yeah, she was
for
good.
what she
Yeah, I
was
thought
given.
She was. She was good.
You know, here's
What's
the
your-
funny
what-
thing
Why
about
are you
her.
asking?
Well, because this is, in a sense, the pinnacle of her career, because I first saw her in 1992's Basic Instinct, where she was like the second female lead, the obsessed psychiatrist. Then she was in The Firm in 93. She was in Reality Bites, 94. These are all big films. Then she takes, then she does Waterworld. And then after that, it's like her career goes, she's still working. I don't mean to be insulting, but it's like, she's in Time Code and Mickey Blue Eyes. And, it's like this film sort of knocked her career. She was like a leading actress. I think this might have been the last big film where she was a lead actress. So, it's like I seem to remember her so much from the 90s, and I'm looking at her career trajectory, and this film seemed to like destroy it. And
I mean, I think people just had too big of expectations. Like everyone's expectations were so overblown because of the budget. And like me being 6 years old when it came out, I had no idea what the budget was. And like people watching it now, like a lot of people who watch it now for the first time are like, it's great. I don't know why people, but like it got so dragged just because they spent so much money and there were so many problems on set and stuff. I mean, I think people argue too that like this is the end of Kevin Costner's career, and it wasn't. But like,
no, that took The Postman that came out.
By the way,
that was a bad movie.
Same movie with Dirt, right? Same movie with
That
Dirt.
was a bad movie.
Well, how much do you think Kevin Reynolds actually directed this movie, or is his name just on there so Costner doesn't get direct?
Everything I've read on it, he directed a lot of it. The problem they had, so I read that Kevin Costner, when it was finally done, could edit it for one day, him and somebody else. I don't remember who it was. Well, that one day turned into a week, and that's what ultimately caused the rift. I mean, there was a lot of things throughout the production, but that was the final straw. That's when he said that line, Costner should only direct his own, he should always direct his movies so he gets to work with his favorite actor and favorite director himself. Right. That's when he said that. So
there was a lot of bad mojo on the set. I read that, they had to ship people to go to bathrooms and no bathrooms near the set. But Costner was living in a $5,000 a night with a pool and someone cooking for him and all this stuff. And he had his hair
digitally put
in by the EFX guys.
Yeah.
So he didn't look as balding as like, I don't know, he's all wet. I don't understand why that mattered.
Reynolds
he's strikingly handsome. I don't know why he needed to worry about that.
Well, here's the thing. If you look at Reynolds' career, as a director, I mean, previously he didn't. Well, he directed Fandango too, and he did Prince of Thieves, which was not considered like it was a successful film, but not a monster. He followed up with Rapa Nui about the building of those things on Easter Island. That was a flop. Waterworld was a flop. Then he went to that much smaller film, 187. And then he did, then it was like 5 years he did that Count of Monte Cristo version, which was sort of like
It was pretty good. I enjoyed that more than Waterworld.
Yeah, but it was not a hit. And then he did Tristan and Isolde, which was not a hit. Then it's only been TV and Christian films, so.
Yeah, but he did Hatfields and McCoy with Costner, and that was a big hit on TV.
Yeah, but it's TV. He did.
So he's known him back as far back as Fandango.
Yeah.
Those two. So,
1985.
I can't imagine a riff like that. And they're still working. I mean, Hollywood's all about making money. But Costner with these.
Well, you look at it. He did Waterworld with him in 1995. Hatfields and McCoy was in 2012.
Well, because they had the big rift with Robin Hood. They had a big rift during Robin Hood.
Yeah.
So everyone was kind of surprised that Reynolds would even do Waterworld. So I think that's why it was so much longer after that they did something again. Because the other thing was Costner was rewriting it. At one point they brought in Josh Whedon to do script doctoring, right? A week of script doctoring. He was there for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And he
said they didn't use any of his stuff.
Yeah, 7 weeks in hell.
Costner wouldn't use any of his stuff. So I think that was part of. But Costner's the guy. It's his name on it. It's all about him.
He sunk $22 million into it. His own money.
Right, his own money. That's right. So I kind of get that, but Reynolds directed the majority of it. So I don't think that was Costner was directing a lot of it. I think he was rewriting a lot of it. Like it was his choice to be a jerk the entire movie. He didn't want it.
That's what really hurt it.
I think so. I think they could have done that without him being such a jerk because he was just so unlikable.
Yeah.
Too much. So when it changed, it was too quick. Like,
well, when he comes up and he rescues her and says she's my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was, the turn was too quick.
I think the turn is the training montage. Let's teach her to swim.
Yeah.
Let's develop a quick relationship training montage.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Jeannie Trip.
Wait, go ahead, Darcy.
What did you guys think was like that made him such a jerk? Like,
well, okay. So the first scene, the guy steals the lemons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Limes.
And he does this on limes. It does that. So he knew the guy was going to get killed. So that's the first thing you see of him.
He could have got him
He
back
got his
without
line
killing that
stolen.
guy.
Of course he was like that.
Yeah.
Because he took his
You can't
line.
blame him for getting his line
Yeah, but how many
stolen.
limes were there in the world, John? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
so
was like a-
he deserved to die.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, he
He
did.
deserves to die, dude. Fuck that guy.
The Mariner
Fuck that guy.
doesn't trust anybody, right? Isn't that the point?
Well, that was
Isn't that-
apparent from
Yeah.
right away. Yeah.
Who else? Let's see. Who else did? Mad Max. Same thing. Didn't trust anybody.
Yeah,
Well,
but
there goes
but
my-
even
my
Max
camera
was
still
he was
speaking.
quiet. I don't know. He was like even some of the dialogue that he would say, the way he would say it. I just thought,
It's like he was doing accents too sometimes. And
Yeah,
sometimes it wasn't.
but he just changed too quick. I liked him better when he changed a little bit, but it was just it seemed a little too quick.
I don't know.
I
I think
cannot see this movie. I cannot see this movie with a likable lead character in Kevin Costner's role. Like, what is he gonna do? Be like, okay, take my lines. Yeah, sure. Come on, I'll help you out.
I mean,
I'll
no, but
waste my gas to drive
they're
you to
all-
the dry land.
Okay. Also, this is like any Western that's ever been made. They're all reluctant heroes.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like True Grit, that guy
The
was
hero
kind of a
story.
douche too, and he turns into a
Mhm.
hero. They're reluctant heroes. Now he never got his big moment at the end because I guess in the extended cut he wanted to go find more mutants, which we didn't know about except for him.
I don't know why you're being
So-
sarcastic the way you're saying that, Ralph.
Sarcasm is a new thing now, but the thing is,
Ralph, I hear you're always out looking for mutants too.
I'd like to see one mutant. I'm looking for one. Okay, everybody, lots of quotes in this movie.
Oh yeah,
Give us your favorite quote. I don't care who starts.
please.
Darcy,
Mine is,
you're the
"You
guest.
speak
Whoa, whoa.
English."
Sean,
Okay.
Darcy's first. What's your favorite quote?
Well, I mean, the script was abysmal, so I'm having trouble thinking of a quote.
Oh come on, Darcy.
Darcy.
Everyone else should start.
Okay.
there are no quotes in this movie.
Yes, there
There's a couple. Dennis Hopper had a ton of them. I just don't remember.
Yeah,
any.
I mean, that's why I think like his character specifically, like, was so comical and just out there that I also have never really taken this movie as a serious.
Yeah.
Thing.
Okay, so here's my favorite quote from Deacon. He's like a turd that won't flush. That's my favorite quote.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Dennis Hopper was in a different movie. Well, Dennis
here's the
Hopper was being
question.
Dennis Hopper.
May I say something about like a turd that won't flush? Aren't they
okay.
saving all their feces and everything to use as dirt to grow stuff in?
Isn't
don't
that
know
what?
why.
Isn't that what they were dumping the bodies into?
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
I
That
think
sounds
they're
like
using the
backstory.
methane. It's methane generation for fuel.
John, you have a quote. I know you do because you've been doing it for a week.
There's so many of them. My favorite is when he goes to the plate. Oh, pure dirt. I just love that.
Yeah.
That
Pure
guy.
dirt.
That guy who's in all kinds
What are they
of
going to do with that dirt? What are they going to do with that little thing of dirt? That's what I would plant a tree. I don't know.
Grow
Yeah.
There's
tomato
so many
plants.
good lines.
My favorite was very romantic. I will breathe for you.
Okay, that thing.
How
I
does
was
she?
like,
You're right.
I was like, Kevin, why do you have a bubble thing if you have gills? How many bitches have you taken down? to see the
That's
dry
what
land?
I was
Oh.
wondering too.
I didn't even
And-
I didn't even think of that.
That bubble thing doesn't need to be pressurized. You just float down and walk. I don't understand how that.
By the
thing
way,
works.
that city was Denver. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Is that Denver?
Yeah.
Makes
Wait a minute.
Mile High City. Yeah.
It is.
So-
and the land at the end was Mount Everest.
Okay.
That's
You
what
don't
I
know that.
Was
that in the
the director's cut? They go to a plaque. Sir Edmund Hillary climbed this.
Oh come on.
I'm just telling. Now here's
Come
here's
on.
one thing that I hate in this movie. One thing that I hate.
Okay.
Only one. Oh,
Yeah,
my-
but this I don't know what it is, but this really bothers me. So at the end, they're on the D's. The deacon's up there with the microphone,
Mhm.
talking into the microphone to Kevin Costner, and Kevin Costner's talking like this. She's my friend.
Yeah.
Do you know what this is? Right? And I'm thinking, how can this guy up there even hear
Speak
him?
up.
He doesn't even raise
up.
his voice. But that scene I loved. My friend, you're not going to do that because you're not that stupid. I thought that was great.
Well, my favorite part of that is the dude down at the bottom of the thing.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank
Oh,
God.
thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
He's tired of living in the oil.
Tired
Exactly.
of living in the oil. Yeah. Any other quotes?
Um,
Come on.
I liked when he dropped the thing in the oil gauge, and that one guy is like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah. That might have been my
Thanks for
favorite
fun.
scene.
We just said that. Where were you? Were you here with us? we just said that. Okay. What about you guys? Nobody said dry land is a myth.
How about
Well,
he doesn't
did
have
I
a
say I
name, so death can't find him?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, during the
Her whole
montage.
speech.
That scene was
Yeah.
good too, the way she was describing it, and the guy's getting all worked up.
Yeah.
I loved him.
I got a question.
That was actually
Okay.
probably my second favorite film and
Okay,
scene
so
in the
this
film where she's like freaking them out.
Well,
Mhm.
you didn't. So, what about her taking her dress off and seeing the body double? I'm sure Al and
Wait,
Sean. Come on,
wait.
Al and Sean.
Seeing the
That was
body
a body double.
Yeah,
That was a body double. She picked
Why?
it too.
Because she wouldn't do nude in this one. She did nude in
Yeah.
all these other ones, but not this one.
Basic Instinct, she was pretty
Yeah.
open to stuff.
But that's
Well,
a body double.
My issue with that scene is that she's wearing a corset, and then when she goes to take off her clothes, all she does is slip a shoulder off, and the whole thing falls off. That's false. Very
Yeah,
false.
you know,
what's
Doug,
a-
I was
what's
thinking
a
the same
corset?
thing.
She
Yeah.
may have had a
She did that,
single.
that's
release.
exactly what I was thinking. I'm going, that doesn't.
Well, Darcy, how do we take a corset off?
There's a lot of laces involved.
Really? You got to untie it
Yeah.
from the back or something?
No, it's not even untying. You have to so putting a corset on takes a really long time. Taking it off can take longer. Well, it depends because
Wow.
sometimes there's buttons in the front too. It's not just gonna fall off.
Ralph, Ralph, don't pretend like you don't know. All right, please.
You guys
I
don't.
mean, come on.
Ralph, you've had like 10 wives. None of them have wore corsets
Who
before.
said that? I didn't say that, Ralph.
We have an audience out there, an audience who wants to know this stuff.
Oh my
Well,
God.
Not for
link to a
me.
YouTube.
for-
Link
it's
to
for
a
the
video
people-
about it.
It's for the 4 people who watch us other than us.
Well,
That's who that's for.
shouldn't you in the future wear less complicated clothes? I mean, you could die, you could be eaten by fish.
This is what drives me crazy about these movies is they're in the same clothes for I don't know how many weeks were they floating on the water, number one. 2, the helicopter whirlybird guy finds them just at the right time.
Because they
Oh,
burned
I
the
mean,
boat.
I mean, you got to suspect. He finds the
I can
excellent LDs on his
I
little
can
jet bike. I mean, come on.
Right. I can suspend a little disbelief, but not all of it. That's all
No,
I'm
he
saying.
says when he
You know what
finds
I
them, he's
didn't
like,
like?
Oh, what, Hassan?
Oh no, continue, Darcy.
oh, that scene where the balloon finds them. He's like, you guys were so smart to burn your boat, otherwise I never would have found
That's
you.
right. I forgot about that.
Oh, I
Uh-huh.
must have
So
missed that.
smart to burn
Oh,
your
here's
boat.
another thing. Here's another little
Sorry.
tidbit from the director's cut that you guys will hate.
Oh,
Good.
Do you remember when he went back to when they had their little atoll after the balloon picked him up?
Mhm.
And then right from there, he went to get her.
Yeah.
Well, in the original cut, he doesn't do that. He leaves on his own, goes back to his beat up boat. That's when he picks up the National Geographic and looks at the other picture, then goes back to the little atoll and decides he's going to get her.
Yeah, that seems totally unnecessary.
Well, but it was to show that he was being a jerk. He just wanted to get away. But when he went back to the boat and saw her picture, that's when he decided I have to go back and get her.
so she saw
No,
dry
it's because
land
he
somehow.
realized. No, it's because he realized her visions and the stuff that she's been drawing is stuff from dry land.
That's right. That's
He's
when he
like,
said,
"Oh, she's right."
I
He's been
remember
there. I
Jeannie
know that now.
Trappelhorn said she draws whatever she sees.
right.
Mhm.
So wait a minute. Was it a vision or did she see that dry land?
Well, she
saw
remembered it. She
She
remembered
saw
it from
it.
being a kid.
That was her
Like a
home.
baby memory.
The
Oh, so she was there
tone
at
she
some
was
point.
humming was her music box.
Right.
Yeah, here's the
Oh,
That's right.
What music?
Ah.
box?
thing.
The music
That we
box they
see at
find
the
on
end.
dry land.
I saw. She
Yeah.
cranked it. I saw.
Okay, now here's
What I
something
didn't
that
like-
bothered me, but Hassan
Whoa,
first.
wait.
You
what
first.
I didn't like was the tattoo had like Asian characters on it, and this is somewhere she grew up or like was born. And John just said it was like Mount Everest, but she's white.
Well, but
I
they're always
wondered when
talking
someone was
about
going to
like
play the race card.
that it's Portuguese they're speaking, and that because like whoever's left is just like whoever's left. So I think all the
Right.
languages are getting combined. Everyone who was left is just like mixing together. Like the people on Everest wouldn't have been the only people left. Like, and that wouldn't have. I don't know. She's white, but I don't know.
Wait,
what
is
kind of
she-
languages they
so-
knew.
Is she not Triple Horn's daughter?
No.
Yeah.
No.
She's
You don't-
the
you
daughter-
don't look
The movie
much
on your
like her.
phone?
Here's something that really bothered me about this film at the end. You can tell it's a writer that's never met a human being before, because they go there, they find the 2 dead bodies in there. Those are her parents. So so they get in there because she opens the music box. It was her music box. And they're like, they must have sent her away when they realized they were dying. So they have the 2 dead parents there laying in the bed. And what does she go to? She doesn't go, Mom, Dad. It's like, oh my, she goes to the music box. And then they run out and leave her in there with the dead bodies. With the
What did they die of? What was that?
We don't
Shortness
know.
of breath.
Yeah.
What did they
Heart
die?
arrhythmia.
That's
What's
actually
their backstory? I'd like to know why they're at
John.
Mount Everest.
That's actually not funny now. You can't do shortness of breath jokes anymore. Okay,
Yeah.
those days are
Too
over.
soon.
Too
Too
soon.
soon.
They did
It's
say
still
they
going
were
on.
Wait, you guys are blown. Those were her parents that were laying there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was her place.
Supposedly.
They had the
And-
maps. They were making the maps on paper before they tattooed her with it.
Well, you know what? It's absolutely not going to change my rating, but it's interesting. I'm not.
Bro,
gonna
this
lie.
is
But
a
once
couple
again-
movies.
You thought
This
Jean
kid-
Grey was the
Review
mother,
that.
so I want to know if you even saw the movie, Ralph.
I did see the movie. I didn't know
It
she
sounds
was.
like you were watching it in the car on your way to your
Yeah, I
house
think
or
so.
something,
No, that's
man.
your move. That is not my
At least
move.
his
That's
son
your
admits
move.
when he doesn't watch a movie.
No,
Yeah.
no, I watched the whole thing, but I never put those.
Don't you
two
remember the
together.
line, "You don't much look like her"? I'm not her mother, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, they said
Yeah.
that in the
She goes,
movie?
well, you act
Yeah.
like her mother.
Right.
That might have been when I went up to get my Cheez-Its. I don't know.
Well, see, that changes the whole movie for you now.
I'm looking. Yeah, well, actually, it doesn't. I have one question. The guy, the security guy, okay,
Yeah.
who ends up with them
Yeah.
on the whirlybird, right?
Yeah.
He had a kid that he was running around with during the atoll attack. Where'd that kid go?
It wasn't
He's
his
dead.
kid.
It wasn't
was
his?
No, just a kid that needed protection at that time.
All
Did you
all
see
the
that in the
children are dead.
I don't remember that
Yeah.
guy.
They got blown apart by that machine gun they were spraying through the atoll.
That was
Okay,
a great
so-
He
scene.
did.
Why
That
is
was the
that
best
cousin
scene.
still
That was a
shooting?
great scene.
Hey, did you see Jack Black?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who
Good.
was he?
He was the pilot.
He was the airline.
the
He was the
pilot.
pilot.
He was the pilot
Oh,
in that little
okay.
plane. And the guy, Kim Coates,
Kim Coates. Paper.
the guy, the crazy dude that
Paper.
he ends up killing. Was,
That was great.
Yeah.
But that's when Costner
liked how they
started
were like,
to turn, right? When he came, he let him down there with her, and then changed his mind, and that's
Yeah.
when things started to change.
Yeah, but he waited too long. Because
Well,
if
that's
I'd have
true,
gone
too.
down with her, it would have already been over.
well,
With me, it probably would have been over before we got
Yeah,
downstairs.
that's-
you know what I mean?
that's your problem. I don't.
Yeah.
That's your problem.
They say there's pills that will help me.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. But all right. Well, anything else we want to add to enhance the? Well, go ahead, Al. I hear Al ready to.
Well,
What was that?
Do you
I like
think
that.
this movie looked too clean? Like, I feel like it should have looked grittier than it was. I mean, I understand that it's like water, so
Yeah.
technically things will be clean, but it should have been grittier somehow.
I don't know. The whole smoker, they were all disgusting.
Should have been grittier. I don't know.
And they were eating smeat. Did you see that instead of Spam? It was smeat.
When he throws the
They-
cans. down?
Yeah.
They blew all the budget. They couldn't license the Spam label from the company.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but the atoll,
Darcy, are you?
the atoll got sunk in a hurricane, and they had to rebuild it.
that
Is
sounds
that
like,
the
extended?
that
is that
sounds
the
like
extended
20
version?
million there.
Oh,
Oh,
in
that's
real
just
life,
that's
yeah.
in. You remember Premiere Magazine?
I loved Premiere
Yes.
They
Magazine.
did a huge.
I have the premiere.
They had a huge layout of that, and they explained that it was $5 million to build it. It sunk during the hurricane, and they had to rebuild it. So that was
Yeah, they
part of the
couldn't get
reason why the
enough-
budget went up.
They couldn't
What?
get enough sheet metal to build that thing. They had to import sheet metal from all over the place.
I think it was a pretty impressive set.
Yeah.
well,
it was
Yeah.
very
And his
impressive.
boats. There were
That
two
boat
boats.
was the
That boat was
the
super
boat was
cool.
the star of the movie.
So cool.
That atoll was a pretty impressive erection that they built there. That they erected.
Unbelievable. Well, the money was definitely on the screen. It's not like, the money, you didn't see the money. It was all up there with all
Yeah.
the stunts and, what do you call the skidoos? What do you call those things? The
Jet
Ski-Doos?
ski.
Skis?
jet skis.
Jet skis.
You know, I went jet skiing
They used to
after
be called
that. We
skidoos.
couldn't do all those things. So we couldn't do all those.
Well, I don't know how they can stay underwater. Those things can they be underwater?
I don't think jet skis will operate underwater.
No, but if I remember right, they had
they would go
something-
up.
there was something tethering it down.
Yeah,
rope,
Had an
and they
air
cut the
thing
rope.
Yeah,
but
and
I
it
don't
was
think
holding
the
them down.
engine of a jet ski would work underwater.
Yeah, that I
That's
don't
what I'm
know.
saying. It's I
But
guess you have
again,
to
I
suspend
don't
disbelief.
picture guys with gills behind their ears either. So I guess
Well-
I could suspend my disbelief for that.
Yeah.
There was only one guy with gills. We didn't know about anybody else.
That you know of.
in the
Well, you
extended
notice
version.
too. Look at what a sellout it is. You know, they didn't want all these gills on his neck because then he wouldn't be such a romantic hero. So a little gill behind the ear that you wouldn't have to look at, so you could still sing, "Yeah, I'd have sex with that fish."
I'm not gonna lie, it was quite sexy back there. That Kevin Costner
that
knows
ear
how to wear his
thing?
skills. Yeah.
Were you
Like
into the web
two-
toes? Was that?
Go ahead, Darcy. What?
The web toes. Yeah, those were not done well. They were gross, but
No, they were not good.
No, the web toes. No.
yeah, they were gross. I do like. I also still enjoyed the commentary on humanity through this too. Just like, you know, the world is shot. Everyone's living in water. That's not how humans are supposed to live. And still, you see a mutant and you want to kill it. Still, we have a whole sect of people on this oil tanker that are just like, progress, progress. We do whatever we want. We just want to consume, blah, blah, blah. And so, I mean, I thought it was like, I don't know. I thought it was a good.
You looked into it much deeper than I did. Wow.
I hate people that want to consume all the time, but for me, that's self-loathing. So.
Well, I
And
mean,
like
again,
the bad guys were smokers and they just like smoked all the time. Like I thought smokers meant something like more meaningful than just like they just
Like
smoked
they were
a lot.
oh, they're
barbecuing?
no, but their
It's because
machines
they
smoke.
leave
Their
smoke
machines
everywhere.
Yeah, their machines put out
Yeah,
smoke.
I got
It was a
that.
double-
But, like, they
it was a double
also were
message.
smoking all the time. Like they didn't
He gave out
have
cigarette-
the smoking cigarettes all the time.
How are
But
they
I get
making
that,
the
like,
cigarettes?
Smoking bad for the pollution, smoke, all that.
Yeah,
That's
this.
Well, I
I-
imagine like now, in those days, the skies would have been clear because there wasn't a lot of carbon being thrown into the thing. You know, a couple of boats. The Valdez was sitting there with all that oil.
Mhm.
Now, isn't there a whole thing in the extended how they refine that oil?
Yes.
Boy, we should watch that one.
Yeah,
How they
I would
make their- how they
certainly
make their
wanna see
ammunition.
that.
Kill me now. What?
I would certainly want to see that. I would love to spend 20 minutes watching that.
I was
How
just
can
trying
the-
to, it just provides more backstory, and apparently that's what you all wanted.
How can the
Now,
Valdez
I-
even hold oil when it lost?
Leaked
You know, wasn't the hull penetrated when it spilled all the oil in the 80s?
They fixed
Wow,
it.
way to kill the movie, man. I didn't even think of
Yeah,
that.
man.
That's the one
Ow.
that did it. That did it.
They
Now you
fixed it.
sold. Now you sold it. All right, here we go. We're
Okay.
gonna do the ratings now. Okay.
This is
I
pass
want-
fail now.
This is you know how we do. We used to do yellow barrels, but we changed that. So Darcy, you can start. It's either the Yippee-Ki-Yay or Yippee-Ki-Nay.
Yippee-Ki-Yay!
Ah, Sean.
Sean or John?
Sean.
Yippee-Ki-Yay in the weakest possible terms.
Whoa.
You can't
Surprise,
quantify it.
surprise. It's one or the other. All right, Al.
I got to go Yippee-Ki-Nay.
I expected that.
I'm
Hassan.
gonna,
If it was a solid 90 minutes, it would be a Yippee-Ki-Yay, but since it drags on for 2 hours, it's a Yippee-Ki-Nay.
Too long. Okay.
Yeah, I hear
it
that.
was very long. I'm gonna give it a Yippee-Ki-Yay. I thought it was a fun ride, and I rented it. I'm probably gonna watch it again.
John, before you go, was
I
this
remake.
I'm sorry, was this a summer movie?
Yeah, July.
July.
Yeah.
So this is a summer blockbuster.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh,
Wow.
it was a summer movie.
Supposed to be.
I know it wasn't a blockbuster, but it was
Yeah.
scheduled to be that. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's
Very
your rating?
funny and
Well, I think
very-
you know what my rating is. It's a resounding yippee-ki-yay.
Wow. All right.
Al,
Al stole my no, it's me. Al stole my thunder. I'm gonna go Yippee-Ki.
Mm,
And I'm gonna steal a quote from another podcast I listened to. Not great, didn't hate. Okay. Now, it's not a great movie, but I can watch Kevin Costner shave, and it's making
What about
nice.
those shots when the boat's against the moon, against the
Oh, that's all-
sun?
mm,
It's
What those
beautifully
beautiful
shot.
shots?
all the stuff
Yeah.
with his boat, all that stuff they're doing, all the stunts he's doing where he's spinning around on the ropes and all that. I thought that was all well done, very physical, and it looked great. But
That was his
as far as the
Millennium
movie-
Falcon.
Little Millennium Falcon. Well, it's again, you got that vibe going.
Yeah.
Right, anti-hero, but again, he never
Mhm.
turned likable. Did he turn likable? Just
Yeah,
'cause
he did.
Yeah, he did.
He did?
He did.
Plus, those girls were really annoying. Like, for someone who
No.
lived by himself for a really long time, like, they really fucked up his shit
That I
right
agree.
off the bat.
I agree with that.
I know
Yeah.
she's shooting arrows. She shouldn't have
When he
shot.
gets flung off the ship,
Right.
Yeah.
that was great.
She's drawn all over the place. That little girl's
Yep.
drawn all over the place. What a
Thank
pain.
God
You're
they
right.
weren't.
He should have. He
Mark.
threw her off, but they had to rescue her. I guess.
You know, now that you guys say that, he should have thrown her off the boat.
Yeah.
They deserved
And
it.
Tell me what it is.
he
About
should have went
cutting
through with
hair.
that deal and got those pieces of paper too.
Exactly.
What is the deal with cutting hair? What is that?
It's
Symbolize.
biblical.
I
It's
thought
like
he was
Samson.
going to use the hair to
You're
fix
cutting-
his rope.
That's what I thought too. I thought he would use the hair to fix. Here's
Oh,
the
is that?
Can I say one thing that bothered me?
So just
They
to
were
punish them?
constantly
Like, okay.
throwing stuff. You can finish yours. They're throwing stuff away all the time. Like when they cut loose of those ropes. Those ropes, you know how difficult it would be to make another rope? You know, and they're always cutting ropes and they're just letting them stay in the water. You would kill for rope if you were back in those, not back in those days,
Yeah.
future those days. Sorry,
I agree.
Hassan. Could you
No,
continue?
I agree.
Okay.
No,
With
no,
what? Oh, they're throwing the stuff away.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another Kevin Reynolds story when he was up that one shot where he was up on the mast
Mhm.
and you had the helicopter shot. Well, apparently the helicopter got way too close to Costner when he was up there to the point that he thought he was going to die. And then the boat went
John
off by
Landis style?
itself and they had to go after it. So he was up there for 2 hours and that thing was rocking back and forth. That was another thing that caused a big rift between him and Reynolds.
Yeah. Well, I bet you Reynolds did it on purpose.
Have you guys seen that show on Shudder? The cursed movies.
No,
Yeah, that
but
show
I want to
sucks.
see that.
You don't like it?
No.
Oh, I did
What?
They did a whole Twilight Zone.
Oh,
They interviewed the guy who built the sets. He was very upset.
Did you see The Exorcist?
Shudder.
Yeah.
John? I hate that they're using these
Subscription service.
like for The Exorcist one, they brought on an exorcist who's like just
Yeah. No, The Exorcist. The
religious
Twilight
guys
Zone-
who rip people
Yeah.
off.
Mm.
Well,
know
the
what I
Twilight
like?
Zone was pretty good.
The one about I loved Eddie Murphy had after he worked with John Landis on American Vampire in Brooklyn, and they had a rift on that film, and they said, "So what do you think about working with John Landis?" He's like, "Vic Morrow will work with him again before I do."
Right.
ouch.
I don't know
Yeah.
what that means.
I have no. Vic Morrow got killed on the set of the Twilight Zone.
He got
Got
He
John
got
Landis
decapitated.
decapitated by him
and two
kids, right?
children. Two
And he was
Decapitated by a
kids.
helicopter.
children.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
John
it's sad.
Landis never had to go to jail or anything.
No, he laughed his way through it.
Yep.
He
You know,
did
there was a
not laugh.
trial he was-
No. Watch the show on Shudder. He didn't laugh his way through it.
Yes,
He went to all the funerals.
Yeah,
He still killed. He's
Shudder.
responsible for
but he
killing
was joking
people. though.
around.
I understand, and what they did was wrong, but he didn't laugh through all of that. Anyway, watch it and you'll see.
It was all PR.
What's Shudder?
It's a
Shudder is
horror-
another streaming
It's a
horror
horror
streaming
streaming
service.
Yeah.
I just threw out their name, and maybe we'll get some sponsorship. Who knows?
Joe Bob
I'm sure
is
they're-
on
I'm
there.
sure they're
No,
right
do
now
like
with season 2.
Harry's razor blades and what's the Audible. If you're going to throw out things that they
Oh,
sponsor podcasts, you know what?
Stamps.com.
The only thing that's gotten me through this shaving has been Harry's.
there you
know.
go.
And Squarespace.
I'm sure they'll
I've been
get this
using
out.
Squarespace to do my website and make money.
Well, I have to admit, Darcy made me feel guilty that this meant something to her parents. This actually was a meaningful movie for her. But I'm glad you brought it. I hope you enjoyed your time with the group here.
I did. This is great.
We
I
enjoyed
love
talking about the
talking
film.
it out.
Thanks for picking this movie.
Yeah.
John
Sure.
loves you. Really, big
I
fan.
do. I
huh?
love this movie.
I'm
Big
so
fan. Wow.
excited. We should watch it together one day, the director's cut, because I haven't seen it.
Oh,
You got 3 hours you want to spend?
so
Is
much
that-
backstory, Darcy. It's
We're in
unbelievable.
quarantine.
John,
so-
you need to understand. I don't like backstory. I
Oh.
can't stand like when we were talking about taking the
Taking
Pelham.
a film 1, 2, 3.
Bring the milk home. Make sure you pick up the milk before you come home. That kind of backstory.
You don't need that.
Don't need it. I just want to know it's. But this one, I need it a little bit.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I
All right,
wanted
so-
to know, they only ever showed this ear. I wanted to know if he had gills on both ears. Because that's two mutations.
Good
With
idea.
one ear
Right.
would be one mutation.
Well, what about the
Is
web
it a
feet, the web
mutation or
hands?
is it an adaptation?
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do
It
that.
has to be a mutation because we don't have enough time for an actual adaptation.
Yeah, but what mutation would infer that something happened, right? A nuclear thing or something. Adaptation would be they evolved because of the water.
Yeah, well,
Maybe
that's what
he
Gregor
adapted.
explained.
No.
Gregor explained.
Who's Gregor?
Gregor's the Whirlybird
Mendel.
guy. Michael Jeter.
Michael Jeter.
Yeah.
How did he explain it?
He said that he said that the Mariner said there's no one else like me. And he goes, poppycock. People would adapt to this land now. You're not the only one. He said that when he was in the cage.
Okay, so he said adaptation. Everybody else said mutation.
Right.
Yeah.
Mutation
but-
implies that something happened.
Well,
but
I don't.
there
I think they
isn't-
use.
No. Mutation can happen in your genes. It doesn't.
Right.
It's like that mutation actually means like your gene just like has a fluke or a blip. So suddenly you have something different that hasn't been seen before that
That's
you
not-
don't know where it came from.
I'm just going to say this right now. Darcy is too smart for this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay? Too smart.
I'm just an anthropology major. So
We cannot.
Oh, really?
Kidding me?
Dang.
What the heck?
Unbelievable. We're in trouble. We're in trouble.
She's too impressive for this crew.
So now we're going to do this again next week, everybody. I'm going to say this so everybody hears this. Same time next week. Understood?
Did we pick a movie yet?
We have picked a movie.
What's the
What
movie?
movie?
The movie Smokey and the Bandit,
Okay, I'm going to try to get a guest for us, okay?
starring my original man.
Are you gonna
crush,
get Burt Reynolds, John?
No, I can't
That'd
get
be
that.
that'd be
He's
just
dead.
Get us Burt Reynolds. Get us Burt Reynolds.
Maybe
I
we
think
can.
you
I would
should
love
do
to
some
go.
necromancy.
Hey, Sally Field is still available, and I asked her to my junior prom.
you
I had
did?
pictures of
You
her
are
in
in
my
the Baseball
wallet. I
Hall
was
of Fame.
obsessed.
Did you tweet it
Were
at
you
her?
one of the
Did you
Flying
tweet
Nun?
it at her?
No, I was obsessed with her from Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh.
Fell
She
in love with her.
was
Oh
cute.
my God. Yes.
You know, my wife hasn't seen that movie, so it'll be great watching it. Again.
Okay, well, that's the movie we'll do next week.
Talk about the 70s, man. Oof.
Who brings that? I'll bring that to the table.
Are you gonna rip the laser disc for us? All 6 sides?
No, I have another version which is only a flipper, one flip.
Oh,
Is
I
there a
think I have it
director's
on-
cut available?
No, I think I have it on DVD as well. But you can rent that one. Everybody spend the $3 and rent
That's
the
got to
movie.
be free on one of the streaming.
It's all over the place. But that'll be our next one. That's a beautiful 70s snapshot right there. That'll be great. So, again, Darcy, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
All right,
You were great.
Good. You
Thank you for
did
having
a
me.
great job.
Yeah,
I
you
hope you
did.
enjoyed your time in the barrel here.
Definitely.
And I'll see you guys all next week. And whoever else we bring.
Yay.
Wojo probably back next week. Sean, will you tell her?
Yes, I will tell her. And I'll try to get us a guest, somebody. He was not in the movie, but he's a comedian I met who is on one of the shows on one of the networks.
What's his connection to
He's just from the South, and I told him I was going to do it.
Oh.
Wanted to do a Burt Reynolds tribute, and
not Gator.
no. I can't remember whether he wanted to see. He said recommended doing Smokey and the Bandit or Deliverance. Those
Oh.
are two for different films with different.
Oh, yeah. I
tones.
mean,
both hits, both good.
But the one film we really have to watch with Burt Reynolds is The Longest Yard. Because I hear
love
there's
that
some
movie.
people who've only seen the Adam Sandler.
Wait a minute, there's one.
I
right,
100% want to see The
Paul
Longest Yard.
Crew.
Yeah.
Great movie.
yeah.
He also
Green
did
Sheep.
Paternity, just
Yeah.
so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Another classic.
So, okay, cool.
All right, fellas, ladies, Darcy, thank you very much.
Everybody stay
Guys,
safe.
Stay safe, and we'll see you next week, okay?
See you next week.
See
Bye.
ya.
Over and out. Bye, guys.
Dry land is a myth.
Yeah.
I knew there was a quote.